Hello, I'm here to talk about how to divide a quantity into a ratio today. I hope you had a go at the homework from the week before the Easter holidays, which was about simplifying ratios, but this is working on a slightly different skill today. Okay, so the worked example question in front of you says divide £40 in the ratio 1 to 3. The question is missing the word share or divide. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and share £40 in this ratio 1 to 3. Which means, for example, if I have one part of my £40, the other side of the ratio is going to be 3 parts. Now, because each of these parts is equal, I want to have exactly the same number in every single part of my ratio. So the first question is, how do I work out what number goes in place of the question mark? Well, I can see there are 4 boxes in total because, of course, 1 plus 3 is 4. So I have 4 parts altogether in my ratio. Now, my 4 parts are altogether worth £40. So if I want to find out what one part is worth, I think I want to do £40 divided equally into 4. That's right, £10 is the answer. So in place of the question mark, I can now write 10 in every one of my boxes. And I think I'll rub my question mark out now because, of course, I know that it's the 10 that's now important. Now, if you have a look in my boxes, I've got a 10, a 10, a 10, and a 10. And in my head, I've just quickly worked out that all of those 10s added together make 40. So I can see in the first box, there's £10. But if I have a look on the other side of my ratio, if I add all of those together, that comes to £30. So I think the left-hand side of my ratio is worth £10 and the right-hand side of my ratio is worth £30. So that's my answer. I've shared or divided £40 in the ratio 1 to 3. You can have a go at the next one if you'd like, and then you can pause the video and then I'll explain how to answer it. Okay, if I was going to answer this question, I can see one box on the left-hand side of the ratio, but I can see 4 boxes or 4 parts on the right-hand side of my ratio. So if I have a look at the number of parts I have in total, to get my red pen for this, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts altogether. And of course, I could look at my ratio and add the 1 and 4 together. That means I've got 5 parts in total. Okay. Now, the total amount is £40. So I know that 5 parts are going to be worth £40 altogether. So the first thing I want to do is I want to find out what number goes in each box. Well, that would mean I've got to find out what one part is. So if I've got £40 and I'm sharing it equally between 5 boxes, I know that 40 divided by 5 is £8. So I think that means £8 goes in the box. So I'm going to write £8 in every single box. Notice how this time I'm writing my units in because it's £8. I should have done that last time, really. Now, what I can then do is I can see on the left-hand side, I've got £8 altogether. But if I add everything in these 4 boxes, well, 8 and 8 and 8 and 8 is 4 times 8, which is £32. So I think I've shared £40 in the ratio 1 to 4, and the answer is £8 to £32. Some of you who did the homework before the holidays, well done for those of you that did, will know that you can simplify that ratio But the question wasn't to simplify the ratio. The question was to share £40 in that ratio. And if I have a look at 32 and 8, I'm just going to check that when I add those together, 32 plus 8 does make 40, so I know that I've done the question correctly. I'm going to give you some questions that I'd like you to do now, please. So it's now your turn. Now you can see that there are 3 levels of questions. So what I suggest you do is have a go at the 1-star questions first. If you're feeling very brave, have a go at the 2-star questions. But if you're feeling even braver, of course, have a go at the 3-star questions. If you pause the video now, I will then tell you the answers. Okay, I'm going to start to go through the 1-star questions first. Okay, so number 1. Now, I want to divide £20 in the ratio 1 to 3. This time, instead of drawing rectangles, I'm just going to draw little bubbles because I find them easier to draw. Now, I know that I've got 4 parts altogether and I've got £20 to share. So £20 I'm going to divide by 4, and that's worth £5. So I can see now that I can write a £5 in each of those boxes. Now I'm just going to check 5, 10, 15, 20. They all add up to £20. So I think on the left hand side of my ratio I've got £5, and then the right hand side in total I've got £15. So my answer to question 1 is 5 to 15, and I've shared the ratio. I've included my units because you should always include your units. Number 2, I've got to share it in the ratio 2 parts and 5 parts. Now this time I can see that I've got 7 parts in total because 2 plus 5 is 7 parts. Well, I know that that is £42 in total. And if I want to find out what just one of those parts are, I'm going to do £42 divided into 7 pieces, which is going to give me £6. I'm now going to write £6 or 6 in each one of those little bubbles. And if I've done it right, I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces with £6 in, and 7 times 6 is 42. That seems to work. And if I have a look at the 2 6s on one side, that comes to 12. And if I have a look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 6s on the right hand side, that all comes to 30. So I think the left hand side of my ratio is going to be worth £12 and the right hand side is going to be worth £30. Number 3. I've got to split £36 in the ratio 4 to 5. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces there. I'm going to divide £36 into those 9 pieces, so each one would be worth £4. I'm going to write £4 or just 4 in each one of my little circles or my little bubbles. And if I do that, it's easy to see how I'm going to get the answer. And I think I've got on the left hand side 4 4s, which are £16. And on the right hand side I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots of 4, which is 20. So I think my answer is going to be £16 to £20, and I keep it in that order. My last question is £108 in the ratio 7 to 5. Now I've got a bit more screen, I should find this easier. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bubbles there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bubbles there. 7 plus 5 is 12. So I'm going to do £108 divided by 12. Now this is a little bit harder. If you know your times tables, you probably will be able to get this, but if you don't, it's absolutely fine to use a calculator. And I know that 108 divided by 12 is going to give me 9. So I've got a 9 in every single one of those bubbles. And if I do that, I can see now how to get my final answer. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nines, which are £63, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nines, which are £45. So my answer is £63 to £45 there. Moving on now to the 2-star questions, which were here. I'm just going to do one of these questions because if you can do one of them, you can do the rest. And question 1 asks you to divide £24 into 1 to 2 to 3. Now don't worry so much that there's 3 lots of sections in this ratio. It's important to know that you've got 1 bubble, 2 bubbles and 3 bubbles, or 1 part, 2 parts and 3 parts. We're going to go divide £24 into each of those numbers of parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts altogether. So if I divide £24 divided into 6 parts equally, I get £4 in each bubble. And if I write my £4 in each one, I can then see how to get my answers. I've got £4 on the left-hand side, I've got £8 in the middle, and I've got 3 lots of 4, which is 12 on the right-hand side. My final answer is £4 to £8 to £12. I'm now going to show you the rest of the answers. So here are the rest of the answers. Question 2 was 14 to 21 to 21. Number 3 was 80 to 120 to 160. And number 4 was 45 to 27 to 36. Now, if you had a go at the 3-star questions, they were pretty tricky indeed. Number 1 said that a bag of sweets is shared between Anne and Bobby in the ratio 3 to 5. So, Anne had 3 parts of the sweets. Bobby, very fortunately for him, had more sweets. He had 5 parts. Now the question goes on to say, if Anne gets 21 sweets, how many does Bobby get? Well, that means therefore that we've been told that these 3 parts that Anne gets is the same as 21. She gets 21 sweets. Now if those sweets are split equally up into 3 parts, Anne must have 21 divided by 3, which is 7. So in every part of Anne's sweets, she must have 7. Bobby has the same sized part, but he has 5 of those. So in each part, he also has 7 sweets, but luckily for Bobby, he has 5 lots of 7, which is 35. So I'm going to write down my answer that Bobby has 35 sweets, which is correct. If you had a go at the second question, Craig and Dom share some money in the ratio 2 to 7. So Craig has 2 parts and Dom has 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.